Alright, so 2-minute Tanya tidbit for today. So today we begin the actual Tanya, where the Alter Rebbe starts the quest to figure out who exactly is a Beinoni, what exactly it means. So the Alter Rebbe starts by quoting a brisa, which speaks that before the neshama, before the soul comes down to this world, he has to take an oath, and he swears to God that he's going to be a tzaddik, not a rasha. He won't be a wicked person. But even if the whole world tells him that he's a tzaddik, he should always think of himself as a wicked person. Now, the Alter Rebbe asks, we have to understand, why should a person think of himself as a wicked person? We find in Perek that it says over there that a person is not allowed to think of himself as a wicked person. Additionally, if a person thinks of himself as wicked, he's going to become depressed. How will he be able to serve God with joy? Now, remember this question and put it on the side. We're not going to answer it until chapter 13. The Alter Rebbe goes to the next question, and he explains that in general there are 5 levels of people. There's a tzaddik who has good, tzaddik who has bad, a rasha who has good, a rasha who has bad, and then there's someone in between, a Beinoni. Now, what does it mean someone who has good or bad? So the Gemara explains that a tzaddik who has good means he's a complete tzaddik. So a tzaddik who's bad means that someone who has not so perfect a tzaddik. And so too with a rasha and a Beinoni. Now, the Zohar explains that what does it mean that he has good or bad means that the good is his, meaning that the evil inclination is totally nullified to him and he's in charge. And that's a tzaddik who has good by him. Now, we have to understand what exactly this means. Which one is it? What are the 2 explanations? How do they fit together? Next idea that Alter Rebbe brings is the idea that Rabbah says about himself that he's a Beinoni. Now, Abai responded to him that you can't be a Beinoni because if so, there's no chance for anyone else to succeed in life. So we have to understand what exactly does Rabbah refer to himself as a Beinoni as. Also, we have to see in the Gemara Bava Basra, Eov claims to God that you created someone to be a tzaddik, you created someone to be a rasha. But seemingly, when it says a list of the way God's going to give everyone their character traits, it doesn't say it's tzaddik or rasha over there. So how can we say that God decided it? Also, we have to understand in general, what exactly is a Beinoni? He can't be half-half, because if so, how would Rabbah, the great sage, be able to claim that he's a Beinoni, when we know that Rabbah was always serving God? His mouth never stopped saying the words of God, to the extent that the evil angel of death was not able to take his soul, because he was constantly serving God. So how could a Beinoni be someone who's half-half? And also we find that there's different times of life. And a person is doing a sin, at that moment he's called a total rasha, total wicked person. And afterwards, if he does teshuvah, he repents, he's called a complete tzaddik. Now, on the other hand, we find that someone who does even a small sin, even something rabbinical, is called a wicked person at that time, a rasha. And even more so, someone who doesn't even protest someone else who's doing something wrong is called a rasha. So how could it be that a rasha is someone who's not at that time, who's not doing sins in general? And also, we find even someone who's, for sure, someone who's totally nullifying a mitzvah saseh to araisa, such as not learning Torah properly. It says his soul should be totally cut off. For sure he's called a rasha at that time. So what exactly is going on over here? Who's considered a rasha? Who's considered a Beinoni? So we must be that a Beinoni is someone who never did any sins ever. And that's why Rabbah is able to claim himself as being a Beinoni. Now, the Alter Rebbe finishes off with a side note, which says that it says in the Zohar a different answer of what a tzaddik and a Beinoni is. But that's not really relevant here, because there's different explanations of the way things work in Torah. 70 faces, 70 opinions.